And now I will introduce Joanne, who's going to be our speaker today. And she is doing her first speech in the Motivational Strategies Pathway. And the title of her speech is My COVID-19 Life. Joanne, would you like to unmute?
Sure. Like most of you, I've had my life affected in many ways by the coronavirus. First of all, I'd like to say I'm fortunate because both me and my family are healthy and we're okay. But I'd like to talk about my life through the lens of the coronavirus. It all started in March. It was the shutdown. I was driving down the freeway on the way to check in on my 93-year-old father when I realized, oh, I forgot to get toilet paper for my dad. So I quickly pulled off the freeway and I pulled into the nearest Costco. I saw people coming out and they had toilet paper in their cart. So I was very inspired. I went and grabbed a cart and I raced to the back of the store, to the toilet paper section. And the customer in front of me got the last pack of toilet paper. Sorry, the store clerk said. I turned around and I walked dejectedly out of Costco. When I got in the parking lot, I decided to get gas across the way, and then bam, I drove into a mail truck. I couldn't believe I let the toilet paper thing get me so stressed out. It was only toilet paper. Soon all of my family donated toilet paper to my dad's cause, and everything was okay. Soon after that, sadly, in June, one of my childhood friends' moms passed away, not from the coronavirus, but from natural causes. And she was a dear lady. She was involved in a lot of my childhood activities. So I went to her funeral in South San Francisco, where I was raised. And it was at the parish where I was raised in. It's a big church, but there were only about 25 people there. So everyone social distanced and everyone wore masks except the priest. The priest started the service, and soon I realized he was speaking like he was on speed dial. He was going very fast. Definitely not a Toastmaster. Then suddenly, achoo! He sneezed in the middle of the service, and then he wiped his hands on the tablecloth on the altar. I didn't see hand sanitizer anywhere. Soon it came time for the communion, and I had heard that a lot of churches were not going to give the host, and the host is like a wafer-like cracker they give during the communion. I heard they were just going to give a blessing. So I walked up there thinking I was going to get a blessing, and the priest puts a host in my hand. After that sneezing incident, I'm not putting that in my mouth. So I walked back to my seat and I put it in my purse. But I wanted to be respectful, but what do I do with it now? So I did what I always do when I don't know something. I Googled it. What to do with a damaged host? And sure enough, Google had an answer. They said boil it and then consume it. So that's what I did. The next coronavirus problem solved. Then after that, my family was feeling cooped up, and we hadn't gotten together in a long time. So my daughters planned a family get together in Sonoma County. My daughters are very careful. And first of all, they thought, oh, July, sure enough, July, the coronavirus will be over. Wrong, it had actually sparked in July. But they rushed into the Airbnb we had rented and they sanitized everything. My son was not even going to come because of the coronavirus, but last minute he decided to come, but he did not enter the house. He brought his own food, and we were not allowed to hug, which was very hard because I hadn't seen my grandkids in a long time. I can understand why my son is so careful because he works in a hospital and he has been exposed to the coronavirus. He even takes off all his clothes when he gets home and dumps them in the garage before he enters. And one time he almost walked in on my granddaughter's Zoom tap dancing class. He quickly ran around the other way and through the backyard to get into the house. We basically had a good time, but when I got back, I had symptoms, and then I found out my daughters and their spouses had symptoms also. So we all got tested and none of us had it. We must have given some other virus to each other, but it showed me how the need to be very careful because we could have spread it to a lot of people. Next, I get a call from my brother, Joanne, Dad's not in the house. I'm like, what? My dad is 93 and he has a hard time getting around. So where could he be? He doesn't have a car. Then I got a call, another phone call. It was my crazy cousin, Charlie. Hi, Joanne. I took Uncle Harvey out to breakfast. Like, you did what? So not only had he taken my high-risk dad to a public place, but he took him in Daly City where it's cold. So soon my dad was congested and I had to call the doctor, and the doctor said he needed to get a coronavirus test. Immediately, my dad thought he had the coronavirus. And then my brother was so paranoid about it too. He was supposed to bring dinner. He ran in the house and just put a bag of In-N-Out burger on the table and rushed out. The next day when I got there, the In-N-Out burger was still there. My dad didn't even know he had came. I rushed over to the computer and got the test results. My dad was negative. Thank heavens. A few weeks ago, we celebrated my father's 93rd birthday. There were 4 generations of us there, along with my 6-year-old grandson, socially distancing, of course. I was very thankful that everyone could be there and everyone was healthy. And it made me reflect on all my experiences with the coronavirus. And my leaving thought is that you do need to be prepared, but sometimes you need to roll with the punches and try to envision positivity. Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. It was great seeing, I don't know if I should say great, but it was definitely, I could envision your kind of struggles going through the whole COVID-19, and I'm glad to hear that your dad is doing well and the whole family is doing well. And you're right, sometimes you have to deal with it. You know, you have to be careful, but you also have to try and live your life. And now I will call upon Chris to conduct the general evaluation. Chris?
All right, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to take over the meeting for Ranjita, who did a wonderful job as Toastmaster of the day once again. And so let's give Ranjita a hand. And what I'm going to do to start this is we're going to call upon the functionaries, the first of which is the evaluator for our story. And the evaluator for Joanne's story is Frank. So let's give a hand to Frank, who's going to provide an evaluation for Joanne's story.
So I felt like Joanne had a lot of little stories in her speech, and they were all great. I mean, I can't believe that she put all those little stories, and they just like, you know, they were really good. Like the first story about her 93-year-old father, how she had to go to I believe it was Costco to get some toilet paper. I mean, I can relate to that because I was having the same problem. I was driving all over the place trying to get toilet paper because everybody was so excited about getting toilet paper. I don't know what the craziness was about it, but it just drove me crazy too, and I was looking for it. And then how after going to Costco for the toilet paper, she crashes into a mail truck. I'm like, oh man, and I can relate to that too, because you're also so stressed out, about the toilet paper that you're not even thinking like, where, what you're doing. Your mind, instead of thinking about driving, you're thinking about that toilet paper, so you don't even worry about like what's going on around you. And then how she had the story about her, going to her friend's funeral, and then the priest, sneezing. And even right now, I catch myself sometimes, like if I hear somebody sneeze or cough, I'm like, oh shoot, that guy must have COVID or something. I gotta get away from them. And how she even took the time to even Google the host. I mean, I personally probably would have just threw it in the mouth anyways. It's holy. It's the holiness of the host is gonna, I'm gonna be okay. I mean, I probably would have threw it in there, but that's good. That's good you Googled it. The only thing I would say is just the pauses, because that's one thing that you said you were going to be working on, is the pauses. And I really didn't see the pauses. I did see a lot of uhs and buts, and so I would say focus on that, on the pauses, like you said you wanted to work on. So maybe look into that a little bit more. And but overall, I really enjoyed your speech. All the stories. There's still a bunch of more stories on here that I wrote down. I took little notes on that, and I was engaged the whole time. It was kind of like what Chris was talking about, storytelling. I felt like you did a very good speech, storytelling, that with all these little stories. It was really cool. Back to you, General Vader.